Your home might be radioactive and you don't even know it. Okay, that's totally clickbait. I'll be the first to admit it. But today we are here and we are going to have a somewhat deep dive into the topic of radon gas. So today we're going to kind of briefly discuss what it is, the science behind it, what testing equipment there is available to see if your home has radon gas in it, when and where you should be concerned. And then we'll close off today's video with mitigation techniques and solutions that can be installed before you've built your home or during construction or even after you've moved into your home. So let's dive in. So let's talk about radon, the science, what it is versus what it isn't. So radon is not a chemical, it's an element. So it comes out of the natural decay of uranium in the Earth's crust. It is a heavy gas, right? So it sinks to the bottom. So you're typically going to find radon in basements and places where there's not a ton of air movement. Radon is factually 8 times heavier than air. And as I already mentioned, it is going to pool in low spots, but it is going to get sucked into your house by the stack effect. Now, what is the stack effect? So if you have warm air in your home, it is always going to seek to rise. Heat rises, cold falls. We've all learned this over the years, right? And so what happens is as that air is rising and getting heated in your house, it's looking to pull air in from elsewhere. Because, if you have a window open or, if your home is even just remotely a little bit leaky, you're going to be losing hot air out the top of your house. And so what will happen is your home will seek to find equilibrium, and it'll do that by drawing air in through wherever it can. Oftentimes it's in your basement, and oftentimes it makes sense that it'll come up through your slab, because a lot of the time, a lot of us don't spend enough due care and attention to making sure that we have really made the slab airtight from the earth beneath it. Because for a lot of the time, we don't realize that we should care about that, but we absolutely should care about that. The mechanism of harm, shall we say. So you don't just breathe radon, you breathe its progeny, the decay products. So these things will stick to your lung tissue and shoot alpha particles into your DNA. So there's basically tiny atomic cannonballs getting directly propelled into your DNA. And that is why radon is such a concern for us, right? We want to make sure that we aren't, and that our kids aren't breathing that stuff in. Radon is bad news. So the reason why we care so much about radon is it is the number 2 cause of lung cancer in the world. And if you do not smoke, it is the number 1 cause of lung cancer. So if you're a smoker, it might be number 2 cause of lung cancer for you. But if you don't smoke, it's the number 1 cause of lung cancer. So radon is definitely something that we want to be thinking about. Now, let's go into some of the testing equipment and some of the options that are available for us when it comes to testing for radon. So there are short-term charcoal canisters that you can buy off the Home Depot website. I have done a little bit of research about those for you already. Everything that I can tell so far suggests that they're not very helpful and not very useful. So you are much better off to buy some sort of long-term solution or a digital or electronic monitor. Now, I bought something for our company that will actually allow us to go into a home and test for radon and get a reasonably accurate result within an hour or two of being there. I got that because when we go in, we're meeting with clients for the first time. I think it's a good idea to go in and just show people how clean or not clean or how safe or unsafe the air that they're breathing every day is. But if you're looking to, and I think everybody should, especially in this day and age, if you're looking to know how healthy your home is, the number one thing that you can go out and buy, and really these guys, I should have like my own link in bio so I can, sell these myself. The Airthings air monitor is going to give you your radon testing, but it's also going to do air quality monitoring for you as well. So it's going to look for particulate matter in your air, and it's also going to measure for any sort of CO2 levels in your air, as well as VOCs. And VOCs are like the toxins that are, often given off by formaldehyde or, nasty things that are in cabinets and flooring. So that is a very, very helpful tool to measure the quality of air in your home. And, it's a one-time purchase, but once you've got this purchase and you've got it set up, you can very quickly identify how healthy the air in your home is. So for example, if you're finding that the CO2 levels in your home are rising, well, you can go ahead and you can open some windows and let some fresh air in, and that will help to bring down those CO2 levels if you're in a home without an HRV. Maybe if you have a home with an HRV, you can crank up the HRV levels so that it's moving more air. On the radon side of things, it's going to let you know if there's any radon in the air. And if there is, well, we're going to get to what some mitigation solutions are in a minute here, but you're absolutely going to want to get that dealt with very, very soon, because again, radon is a very dangerous gas. It is totally invisible, tasteless. It's not like you don't know that it's there. It's just doing bad things to your body, and it's harming you and your family. Let's talk about when and where to be concerned. So realistically, like no matter where you are or what you're doing, there's a degree of radon in the air. It's how much concentration of radon that we worry about. And again, like these devices, and there are others, but the Airthings 2960 by all accounts seems to be the best in class. And so I'm not going to go into any other options for you. This is what I recommend. Maybe you can find something cheaper out there, go for it. But I've done my ADD had me do some deep diving, and the Airthings 2960 just kept coming back to the top of the list. So be that as it may, I mean, it's a pretty simple display on the screen there, but when you actually link it up to your phone and you get all the data off of it from your phone, it's pretty freaking slick. So yeah, the next thing that we need to think about and concern ourselves with is like literally where we live. So if you are anywhere in British Columbia, which is, so this is a map of BC. And so you can see here the different areas where we want to be concerned about radon. So if we are in the interior of British Columbia, we absolutely want to be thinking about radon mitigation, no matter what sort of construction we're doing. Renovation, new home build, you're absolutely going to want to make sure you put in some sort of radon mitigation apparatus. And we'll get to what that looks like in a second, I promise. Here where I live, which is, where do I live? Kind of sort of over here. We don't have a lot of radon in North Van or even Vancouver, really. We can see that the level of, or the frequency of radon, increases as we work our way towards the interior, but it's still, in the 2 to 5% range. Realistically, the only areas in BC that we're really worried about radon is the interior as we make our way up to Williams Lake. And then when we get up to Quesnel, it gets a little bit less concerning. But yeah, I mean, like that's the areas of BC that you want to be concerned about when it comes to radon. Now, if you're living in the States and you're one of our American viewers, this is what that looks like for you guys. Zone 1 is like no bueno. Zone 2, so, and zone 3 is not likely to have radon. So you can see across the middle of the country there, tons of red areas for radon. Let's just zoom in a little bit more here. As we work our way across the eastern part of the country, a lot more radon as well in and around there. And then as we work our way towards the Gulf of America, we have more or less radon in this area here. There's some orange spots in Florida, but other than that is what it is. But this is, this information's all available online. We'll put the links to these maps in the video for you so that you can check them out and see. But yeah, where you live plays a big factor on how likely there is to be radon coming into your home. The reality of it is like new homes are actually worse for trapping radon than old leaky air ones. So I'll say that again. If you have built a new home in say the last 5 to 10 years, and if you're in one of these high radon areas, if you're not doing radon mitigation, you really need to jump on making sure that your home doesn't have radon in it as soon as possible. And the reason why the new homes are problematic is because they're so airtight. If the radon comes in from wherever it decides to come in, because it sinks, it goes to the bottom of your home. If there's nowhere for the radon to go, it's just going to sit there and you're going to start breathing that stuff in. Not good. You absolutely need to make sure that you have some sort of mitigation device installed after the fact. If you've built a home, or, I mean, if you're doing a renovation and you live in one of these orange or red zones, I would suggest you just put it in. Even if you don't put in the motor and get it set up and running, it's a lot easier to put in the mitigation system, which I'm going to show you in a minute, I promise. It's a lot easier to put in the mitigation system while you're under construction than it is to do after the fact. That said, doing it after the fact is not that big a deal. It's some drywall repairs and a little bit of electrical work, but it shouldn't be that big a deal. Anyways, not too bad. In new homes are going to be more problematic than old homes, because old homes, the air moves more readily through the walls. And again, I'm doing an entire podcast I've got an entire channel called The Ground Truth, where I'm talking more about the pitfalls and the issues of net zero and building to these insane airtight standards. But that's a code, and so we got to do it here in Canada. If you're in the States, you're not dealing with airtightness, you're dealing with other issues. Again, radon, just be aware of what it is and what you need to concern yourself with. So again, just to recap, if your levels are above 4 picocurels or 200 becquerels, I think that's the way to enunciate those words, then you need to start being concerned. As long as the levels are below that, you're good to go. Okay, let's dive into mitigation here. So if you have radon, or if you're thinking about a radon solution, I came across this website and I thought they did the best job of creating a very simple drawing of how to demonstrate this. So full shout out to whoever the heck these guys are, but you can see it there. They're referred here. So thank you very much for this content. So this is exactly what you're going to do though, right? You got your gravel underneath your footings and slab. And so we want to have that gravel there because the gravel actually allows air to flow through it. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to bring a pipe, and you're going to bring a PVC pipe right through the slab into that gravel. And that is a solid PVC pipe. And that's going to come up through your house, through your attic, and it be vented out through your roof. So again, it's just a solid pipe. There's no like crazy rocket science to it. There is no need to do any sort of like crazy piping underneath slab. I mean, I'm sure somebody in the comments can be like, oh, well, you need to, run a length over here, run a length over there. It's such a small amount that's coming in. And as long as you have this booster fan sucking the air up and you're creating a place for that radon to be expelled out of your roof, I mean, you really don't have anything to worry about as long as this system is installed and in place. So gravel underneath your foundation walls, gravel underneath your slab. And I would say, I don't know what the engineers will say. I would imagine, we normally put 3 or 4 inches of gravel underneath our footings, and then we usually end up with somewhere in the vicinity of 8 to 12 inches of gravel or sand underneath the slab. Either or, the air is going to move through it fairly readily. So we are going to suck that air up and out it goes. No muss, no fuss, no rocket science. And this sucker is just on all the time if you end up having any issues. So you can imagine this is not a massive cost during construction to install it. I mean, it's certainly, in a time where affordability is a major issue for a lot of people, it's probably another $2,000 or $3,000 in labor and materials to get this sucker installed without the actual fan, because you're going to have to run a circuit for the fan and all of these sorts of things. But, it's not a complicated oh my gosh system. It's just something that has to get done. And yeah, I mean, that's how you mitigate it. The other website that I had over here that I thought was interesting is this one here. And it's got quite a bit more information about radon and what's going on there. But basically, you know, all it's doing is just giving you more details and more information about what you should be thinking about and what you should be concerning yourself with. Okay. So folks, I want you to take care of yourselves. I want you to take care of your families. I'm a family guy. I care about them a lot, and I care about you if you're watching my content. Believe it or not, I do. So listen, make sure you're protecting yourself. Make sure you're protecting your family. Make sure you are cognizant and aware as to whether or not your home has radon or not. Do not cheap out on getting this testing done. You do not want to take chances with this. If you find this content useful, informational, helpful, educational, whatever, please share it with your friends and family. I sure would appreciate it. In the meantime, if you'd like to learn more about what Sprucehill does, you can find us on the web or you can reach us on the phone. It's all available. It's all out there. My name's Eric. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one. Talk to you later. Bye now.